Today on Good Morning Sri Lanka, joining us over the telephone is the Director General and CEO of the Arthur C. Clarke Institution, Engineer Sanath Panawannage. Good morning, Mr. Panawannage.
Good morning to you, Ayubowan.
Ayubowan. Welcome to the morning program on Radio Sri Lanka.
A pleasure to be there.
The Arthur C. Clarke Institution, as we all know, is an institution for research and technology transfer and in Sri Lanka. It is named after its founder, patron Sir Arthur C. Clarke, the famous British science fiction author, inventor and futurist. So, Mr. Panawannage, to commence this interview, I would like to ask you about the major activities carried out by the Arthur C. Clarke Foundation.
First of all, we are not Arthur C. Clarke Foundation. So the formal name, official name of the institution is the Arthur C. Clarke Institute for Modern Technologies. So we are a public research institution. We are currently operating within the purview of the Ministry of Higher Education, Technology and Innovation of the Government of Sri Lanka. So our mandate is to accelerate the introduction of modern technologies into Sri Lanka. So the areas of specialization that we are supposed to specialize in include space technologies and applications, electronics and telecommunication engineering technology, robotics and ICT, etc. So these are some abstract ideas about the disciplines of specialization of the institution. You would like to know what are the major projects that we are engaged in. Technologically prominent among some of the projects that we are carrying out right now is the Nano Satellite Program. So that is a program for design, development, launch, and then operate and use nano satellites. So nano satellites are very small satellites, typically less than 10 kilograms in weight, but nevertheless consisting of all the major technological subsystems of a much larger satellite. Because they are small, they cost less. But as they involve all the major technological subsystems of a major satellite, that gives the opportunity for our engineers, Sri Lankan engineers, to acquire the full capability to develop much larger, much complex satellites. So that's basically the intention of the Nano Satellite Program. Then we are also in the process of establishing what we call a national hub for receiving and distribution of Earth observation satellite data. Once again, satellite related. That is basically a ground station complex. We are going to build it at Homagama. So we have a 12-acre land there to set up the ground station complex. So this will facilitate receiving of Earth observation satellite data from all major global Earth observation satellite constellations. So this is something that is very useful in many fields. If you take agriculture, that is very useful in crop monitoring, crop acreage estimate, and also even in assessing the level of moisture in soil. There are a lot of applications, yield prediction. Then when it comes to urban planning, that is very useful. It's also useful in almost all areas of natural resource management, which involve geographically distributed resources. Marine and coastal ecosystems, monitoring of them, archaeological sites, natural heritage, cultural heritage sites, all these things. Then another important area, a third area I would like to mention here is our capability in robotics and unmanned aerial vehicles. We have acquired within a very short time the capability to develop unmanned aerial vehicles of different types, and we at the moment we have already developed some aerial vehicles that could be used for security-related applications and also agriculture-related applications, and many more of them. So we are working on many of the types. This is an area that would be pretty useful even in a situation like this. So depending on the demand, we are ready to provide the services that would be required of a technology of that nature. So in addition to that, we are into a lot of, electronics, telecommunication, and ICT-related research. Of course, I'm not going to talk about all of that.
Well, I should say quite impressive, a wide range of activities. I'm sure there is more to it as well. Now, under the current scenario, the situation, is the Arthur C. Clarke Institution involved in any new inventions to help curb the COVID-19 pandemic the world is facing currently?
Well, I don't want to call them inventions as such, but we have come up with some very useful technology solutions. From the description that I gave earlier, we are fundamentally an institution which is where the areas of specialization are those I mentioned, whereas in a situation like this, the technology focus is pretty much on biomedical engineering field. But nevertheless, we have made our efforts to rise to the occasion, and we have come up with some technology solutions, which are not groundbreaking or very advanced technology, but very useful nevertheless under the present circumstances. So I would like to mention about a few of them. We have come up with what is called a safe chamber for extraction of biological samples from COVID-19 patients at hospitals and also from those suspected to have been infected by COVID-19. So that kind of eliminates the risk of risk of exposure by the medical personnel who are getting those samples. So this particular chamber, safe chamber, is now being used at IDH, at Homagam Hospital, and Mullaria Hospital also, and also at Sri Jayawardhanapura Hospital. So in addition to that, we also got a request from hospitals to try and develop a system to remove contaminated air from the ICUs by maintaining a negative pressure and also ensuring supply of fresh air and also removing the air inside the ICUs by also disinfecting them in the process so that the air that is exhaust will be completely safe. And in addition to that, we have also developed a software platform that can be used by the health authorities in inspecting various sites like building sites, construction sites, factories, and so on, inspecting and monitoring to ensure that they're complying with the health guidelines, COVID-19 guidelines that have been stipulated. And so the public health inspectors and the visiting staff can carry a mobile phone with an application, mobile app that we have developed. And then there's a back-end comprehensive database system and a complete software platform which enables health administrators to monitor the situation and take corrective action and manage such situations. And in the end, it helps a great deal in decision making. So we have given this to the Western Province, in fact, Colombo Regional Directorate. So based on the other inputs with further modifications, we plan to offer it for use by the whole country. So those are some of the areas. In addition to that, we are also into developing some really exciting products as well, but it will be a bit premature for me to speak about those things. At the right time, if we are successful, which we hope will be the case, we'll have some breaking news.
Well, we definitely do hope that all your efforts would be successful in bringing up all this technology into work. Now, we all know that during this curfew period, everybody is talking about social distancing and working from home. So how does the Arthur C. Clarke Institution function right now under the curfew?
Not different from many of the other institutions. Of course, we have been working from home. Our engineers and scientists have been working from home. They've been doing everything that they could do, sitting in front of a computer and doing all the planning work. And basically, as I said, the best way to describe it would be to say that you can do everything that you can do sitting in front of a computer. So that's a fair amount of work. But then there are situations when you do have to visit the laboratories, carry out certain work, carry out certain testing, and carry out certain development work. So in such situations, a minimum number of researchers, scientists, engineers, they have visited the laboratories. And also we have allowed a certain minimum number of administrative people as and when necessary, only on certain dates to visit the institution to facilitate such work.
Well, as a nation and yes, throughout the world as well, we are still fighting this pandemic. But could you please tell us from your angle what the post-COVID era would be like?
Well, this is a debate that is there throughout the world. Everybody is trying to figure out what's going to be the new normal in the post-COVID-19 world. So I don't think I have a complete answer. But definitely it's going to have some implications in the way that we work, in the way our economies work, particularly when it comes to the economic interdependence of nations. A lot of nations will think twice about the interdependence. And of course, something that would be pretty relevant here is to mention about this mega trend of globalization. So that was a buzzword that has been a buzzword for so many decades. But actually speaking, globalization was at a peak in terms of its economic impact around 2007 when the global capital flows amounted to something like $9 trillion US, that is about 16%, a huge 16% of the economic output of the world at that time. But it has since been on the decline. But I think this situation will have a major impact on that. And when it comes to the other areas, I think communication will continue to play an important role. Now, even during the past few months, we have seen that some companies have been actually, there have been only a few companies globally that have been gaining in the face of this huge global economic meltdown where the stock markets all over the world have suffered a huge decline. So some of the companies that have come up are companies like Zoom, which have done exceptionally well. So that kind of underscores the importance of, working from a distance. And so internet, I think the usage of internet will be more emphasized. And here, of course, there's one thing more that I would like to mention. In fact, many decades ago, Sir Arthur C. Clarke, who is also, incidentally, the founder patron of my institution, he very famously said, "Don't commute, communicate. Communicate instead of commuting." I think it has had that represents the reality of the COVID-19 era. I think this will be much more relevant in the time to come.
Well, I'm sure we have many youngsters who are listening to us right now as well. So for their information, I would like to know what the Arthur C. Clarke Foundation, what programs the Arthur C. Clarke Foundation or the institution has for them right now, and what the future programs would be like for those who would like to join this field.
Well, so we have some training programs. Youth can actually participate. So the details of those programs are there on our website. There are some continuing professional development programs, but they are mainly intended for engineers and technologists from the industry. But time and again, we have seen some very interested youth who seek to get involved in that kind of program. So they are very welcome. Maybe university students, maybe some people who have a particular interest in such advanced technology. So they can certainly join. So when it comes to the next level, of course, one of the areas that, although we are a fundamentally technology related institution. We are also into one area of fundamental science, that is astronomy. So this is an area that generates a lot of interest among the school children and all that. So they come there, they visit the institution, and they get acquainted themselves with those, principles of those sciences and all that. So there are some programs in those areas as well where younger school children can get involved in. So information on all these programs are there on our website.
Well, I'm sure those interested can visit the website and find out more details about the programs and direct themselves to wherever necessary. Now, also, I'm sure the Arthur C. Clarke Institution has many plans for the future. If I may ask, what are the future plans?
Well, of course, we are developing our capabilities in the area of satellite building. So at the moment, we are going ahead with the program to develop a really larger nanosatellite, which is actually a technology collaboration project. We are one of the partners. You all can remember that we developed the first satellite to be developed by Sri Lanka, by Arthur C. Clarke Institute. This was done in technology collaboration with the Kyushu Institute of Technology, Japan. This was Ravana 1, which was launched on the 17th of June 2019. So that was 1 year ago. So based on the success of that, we have also embarked on another project to build a satellite which is 6 times as big as that satellite. And I don't want to mention a lot of things about that because we have to go we have to go some way. But it is happening now. So 2 of our engineers are working with some in Japan at QTech. So this is a much larger joint project where we are one of the partners, and QTech is one of the partners, that is Japan. And then there's a major Singaporean university that has come on board, and very importantly, 2 commercial companies who are building, who are manufacturing various instruments for space industry in Japan have also come on board because they have seen the potential of this. They would like to have their systems tested on board a satellite so that they can become space tested. So this is going to be one of the major projects. In addition to that, as I said, we have this ground station complex coming up, and so we hope, in fact, it got delayed a little bit because of the prevailing circumstances, but we are confident that we'll be able to make this operational by the end of next year. So those are 2 major ones, but then we have a lot of other research and development projects in areas of electronics, telecommunication, IT, and robotics. For example, in the area of robotics, in addition to those UAVs, we have also developed some robo platforms that can, for example, go inside a graphite mine and completely do a mapping of the mine and reach the places which where it is dangerous for human beings to reach. And so that kind of applications, we have developed some very interesting technology solutions. And there are a lot of solutions like that.
Well, we wish all the best to the institution and to you and your workforce as well to bring all these innovations and into light and to serve the country and, of course, the world as well. Finally, what would be your message to the society?
Okay, I think these are challenging times. I think best of the innovations have come at challenging times. When I said innovations, I do not mean technological innovations alone. Of course, there are a lot of interesting technological innovations that are coming from the research institutions, our research institutions, which are operating under the Ministry of higher education, technology, and research, most of our sister institutions. And very importantly, there are a lot of other innovations that are coming from the youth of this country, the university students, a lot of things. And there are a lot of, so those are technological innovations. But when you say innovations, that is not the only innovation. There are innovative processes, there are innovative structures, innovative economic models that are being experimented, the innovative administrative models that are being experimented. I am sure that, in the time to come, we will have the fruits of such innovative measures in all these areas. I think the message would be to resort to innovation, think differently, and overcome this challenge.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Panawannage, for your time and sharing all this valuable knowledge and information with us. It was a pleasure having you on the program.
It was a pleasure too.
Thank you once again. You just listened to an interview conducted with the Director General and CEO of the Arthur C. Clarke Institute for Modern Technologies, Engineer Sanath Panawannage.